Hello, hello. I'm back. Okay, so this is our last live until 8 o'clock. And I know I had popped in, I was going to do one at 7 and one at 5, and I felt like it was getting to be much. So I combined the one at 4 o'clock. And if you're keeping score, just go look at the blog. It's really easy to see what's already happened today and what's still to come. So what's coming, right now we're going to do the Versamark make and take. And then I have a multi-layered one that we're going to do during our 8 o'clock live. So hang out with me now and then take the time after this to go review my blog and see what you've missed, see what we've done today, and then join me at 8 o'clock. I have some fun giveaways and I have some upcoming things to let you know about. So don't forget to come back at 8. So watch this, we'll have some fun, then go grab a little snack, and then come on back and join us at our usual 8 o'clock Monday night. Okay, that's that. I have to do my little details at the beginning. Hey, Shannon. Good. Okay, I know. I don't know why I picked Monday, but we'll see. Hey, Mary Lou. Hope you're having a good vacation. Is it over yet? I hope it's not over. I hope it's still going on. Okay. Let me switch you on down and get rid of that. Okie dokie. So here is our make and take that's using Versamark. Versamark is a cool ink, and I if you haven't been with me throughout the day, I'm kind of taking you on a meander through the catalog, taking you through some of the things that you might miss. We get super excited at the stuff at the beginning, these really cool bundles and these really pretty cards and all of that, but sometimes we miss some of the basic-y stuff that's still in here too. So Versamark, and all the inks start back here. I won't find them right now because I've been looking and I should have had my, there it is. Versamark is on page 146. Hey Debbie, along with the heat tool that I'm going to show you. Notice Versamark comes with a refill. I suggest you get both of them. This is one of those products that you don't use every day, but when you want it, that ink pad to be good and juicy, so it works really well. Here's your embossing powder. So everything that I'm using is on page 146 in the annual catalog. Oh, Shannon, everything is on the blog. I haven't hit download links there yet, but I will. They have to be uploaded. The bee bundle. Ew. That sounds awful. No, the bees are discontinued, so you shouldn't have gotten stung. No bees left. Okay, so this is the stamp set that I have wanted to use this since I saw the catalog. I just love it. It's so pretty and it screams out heat embossing to me because of all the delicate details. So let me show you. Heat embossing is one of the first techniques that I ever stamped with, and it's got this wow factor that just made me feel so excited. I couldn't wait to share it. So we are going with the simplest of simple cards. We don't need a gazillion things to make this wow because it's just so cool. We are going to start with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Whisper White cut in half. So now we have an 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to score it 4 1/4. Okay, so there we go. Now we've got a piece of Rococo Rose. I like this color. It's not real pinky, it's not real orangey, it's cool. And this is cut to 5 1/4 by 4, so it's going to fit right on the front of your card. I'm going to put the card to the side. Now, you stamp your images with Versamark, which is a clear stamp, a clear ink. It doesn't have a color. It's a slow to dry So that's what lets us add the powder to it. So we have two kinds of powders here. I'm going to show you both of them. There are other colors, but white and clear are the two that we're using today. Remember I said they're on page 146, so if you look up here, you'll see there's white, clear, gold, and silver. There's a different color in the fall, the mini catalog that's coming. I'm not giving anything away, but I think there's another color in there. All right, so if your ink pad, mine doesn't need it right this minute, but if your ink pad needs refilling, you're going to want to get yourself a plastic spoon, you know, the kind you can throw away, and you're going to take the refill and you're just going to squeeze it over the top of the ink pad and then mush it down with the plastic spoon, okay? It's that easy. It's not like you have to like find the hole to refill it with. You just squirt the stuff on top. Super cool. Notice this does not have one of those protective things in it, like the StazOn that we used earlier. And this is not it doesn't clamp shut. So you want to make sure that your cover's on. It is very slow drying, so you should be okay. All right. First thing we're going to do is we're going to grab ourselves a piece of just printer paper. Just, you know, copy paper that goes in your printer, nothing fancy. And I'm going to put that down. Make sure there's nothing on my paper, and I'm going to ink up my stamp. Now, the tricky part is, it's hard to tell when you look at it, did it get nice and inky? If you kind of tip it around, you can see that it gets shiny, but it doesn't really have a color. All right. I'm then going to take it and I'm going to stamp. Now you kind of can see that it left a little bit of an imprint. That's what it does. Debbie's saying she likes using the clear embossing powder with an ink that matches her project. That's for me, that's two-step embossing, and I use my Stamparatus. Maybe we'll do that later. That's a fun one. Okay, so there it is. It's ready to go. I'm going to go with the white. I'm going to take the cover off. And I'm going to sprinkle. Sprinkle, and you're thinking, whoa, holy cow, lady. It took half a container just to do one card? No. That's why the printer paper's here. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to shake off the excess, flip it over, and do a couple of flicks on the back. Flip it over. I also take this itty bitty little paintbrush. It's dry. And I kind of clean off if there's any kind of goobers, fingerprints, things that don't really, because if you have any of that powder anywhere and you heat it up, it's going to show up. So make sure that you get this the way you want it. All right, look really close. No goobers. Everything looks good. All right, before you continue, you're going to cover up your Versamark. You are going to take this paper and you're going to pour it back in the jar, the excess, right? Hold on to that. Put your cover back on your container. Notice all this is happening before I turn the heat tool on. I'm also, because I don't want heat embossing on my table, I'm going to clean that off too. Those of you that were not here earlier and wondering, wait, what happened to the table? Where did the blue tile go? It's still here. It's just over there. I rearranged my room a little bit and it gave me more space, but this is where I can do my lives now, and I'm almost thinking it might be easier to see because the blue doesn't distract you. I'm going to turn this back on. And I'm going to let it heat up a little bit before I do anything with it, okay? The heat tool has two options. There's a low and a high. All right, I'm on high. And I'm going to hold this, I want you to be able to see it, and blow right down at, I know it's loud, so I'll stop talking and you can just watch. And you can see that it starts to turn. It's no, you don't have to rush, Anita. You're okay. You can't like come back after dinner, but you've got a few minutes. Notice that everything kind of changed and got brighter white. And then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to give it a little bit of heat on the back too, just to make sure that I got a good, okay. Right? Oh, that's so loud. Okay, there's that one. Now, I'm going to bring back my paper. And this time I'm going to use the sentiment that says, just a little note to say hello. If you look at the stamp set, this has the, I mean, I love this, that image, this heart, I love them all. And it says, you know too much. You'll always be my friend. You mean everything to me, so happy for you, and just a little note to say hello. It's just a perfect little stamp set. Anita, I'm in too much of a rush to see the change, so I do both. Ooh, I see a place I missed too, but I'll hit it when I come back. So I'm going to take my sentiment, make sure I've got ink on it. It's a little glimmery. And I'm going to stamp right here. Now it doesn't really show up very much. This time I'm going to use the clear so that you can see the difference between the two. There we go. Pour it on. Knock it off. Little flicks on the back. Turn it over and see how we look. I'm going to take my brush and make sure. Now don't brush off where you want it to be. You'll be really mad. Take your excess. Pour it in. Cover back on. Cover on the ink. Those of you that have been with me for a long time know that I have been known. I eyeball. I'm not a measury girl. Make sure it's hot. And watch what happens. This one's a little more dramatic. There it goes. Don't you love it? So cool. Okay. So there's that. Whoops, I forgot the part. If you look real close, can you see on that flower? It looks kind of muted. This one right here. I didn't hit that earlier. There. Okay. Now, this little ribbon, and you're looking at that thinking, oh, I don't know, that looks like a pain. It's not bad. Here's our trick. Again, my everyday watchers have seen me do this before. You take your pen, you figure out about where the middle of your ribbon will be, about yay. Wrap it around the pen and tie a knot. And then tie a double knot. Tie another knot. And slide it off the pen. Okay, so now you've got this loop and it's going to go there, but I want it to stay where I put it. So I'm going to take my glue dots and take your pick, and I'm going to pick up a glue dot. And I'm going to put that right in the middle of my knot. Dot in my knot. Got it? All right. Put that where I want it, right in the middle of the page. This is, pretty sure, I will double check where this ribbon came from. I think this is one of the 3 that goes with the flowers. There's 3 different ribbons, but I could be wrong. Let me double check for you. I should know. And then I'm going to trim off this, flip my paper over, and I'm going to take another glue dot and pop that on my ribbon. But I want to make sure my ribbon goes where I want it. So I'm going to flip it over and watch from this side. I want it to go right there. And then the same thing, another glue dot. And then flip you over. All right. Then I'm going to flip this over, a lot of flipping overs, and then put on my dimensionals. Here we go. And then I'm ready to put this on. Now, if I were going to do it on the inside, I would use just my Rococo Rose ink because my heat embossing wouldn't really show on Whisper White. Now I will tell you, whoops, one more step. We got to snip this little loop. So we're going to go in kind of on an angle. And there is our perfect little bow. And we are good to go. Heat embossing makes it look like such a big deal. Makes it look like you worked super hard. You really didn't. It was really easy. I'm going to take some of these elegant faceted gems and I'm going to add a few of those just kind of in and around my flowers. And this looks like a crazy elegant card that is 2 pieces of paper, but it just steps it up by adding heat embossing. It is one of the coolest tools, and it's easy to get started with. It isn't like, you don't need tons of stuff. You need one of these. Now, what Debbie was talking about, where she said she uses her ink, let me show you a quick Stamparatus item. Stamparatus is a really cool tool. Bring it over here. This is Stampin' Up's positioning tool. This helps you get things where you want them. I know, it's so pretty. So Stamparatus has 2 little gizmos. You don't always need 2. Sometimes you only need 1. Put you in there. And you have this little foam pad. You need that if you're using the clear stamps, the photopolymer ones. If you're using a cling, which is one of these, you don't need that. So the idea is we want to use the clear powder, and we're going to try and do it with a color ink. If we don't have an embossing powder in our color, but we want to try and do it, okay? All right, so we're going to do that. We're going to take our stamp and put it here. I need to get a piece of paper. All right, here we go. And we're going to make sure that this comes down where it belongs. It's going to hit right there. I like that. To make sure everything stays in place, on the back we have these super crazy strong magnets. Pick them up one at a time. If you try and pick up both of them, they will snap together, break, cause you heartache. Well, maybe not that seriously, but yeah, they will. They'll break. They jump right to each other really fast. So separate them. Now, some people wrap them in tape. Some people do lots of things, other things with them. I'm good with this. I don't put tape on mine, but if you have trouble picking it up, some people put washi tape around it or a little bit of masking tape to give you a handle. If you see videos and you wonder, what are those little things? it's because people happen to like that technique and they feel they need that. I'm okay with this. I don't put little handles on mine, but that's personal preference. Nobody cares. I promise you, that's the beauty of Stampin' Up. You do it your way. Okay, so what do I want for an ink? Let's see. Let's do something crazy that will show really well. Let's do... let's do Pretty Peacock. Okay, so now this time I do have to move quick. If I'm concerned about moving quick, I can use Versamark and Pretty Peacock. So I'm going to show you that technique first because it's not so pressure cookered. So I'm going to stamp this up. Notice when you have it on here, that works better to put the ink onto the stamp rather than the stamp onto the stamp pad. And I'm going to bring it over and come down. Now, if you happen to have a juicy ink pad, you can see how that didn't do well. That's the why the Stamparatus is so cool. So I can come back and do it again. Awesome. This one needs a little more over here, a little bit. That looks pretty good. Okay, now I want the Versamark one. Do not just come stamp this with Versamark. You will end up with Versamark all over your, or you'll end up with Pretty Peacock all over your stamp pad and you'll be really unhappy. Do not just grab this little bugger off and go clean it, because then it won't be in the right position, right? You can take this, or you can use your chamois, which I gave away to someone, so I don't have one. So I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Mist. Spray that on there, and I'm going to wipe it off on here. A paper towel works really well if you don't have another item, but I'm okay. There's that. Where's my paper towel? I think I have one right here. I thought I had one right here. Now, if I were trying to do this without using Versamark, I would be running around like a chicken with my head cut off because I don't have time. I have to hurry. You don't have to hurry. Okay. Put this back in place right where it was. Oh, so what Debbie was saying is to put a stamp under here and then it holds it up a little bit instead of your hand under it. So that works good. I had my hand under it before, but that's another trick that works really well. I'm going to take my Versamark and ink this up, but because it's clean, it doesn't turn my stamp pad Pretty Peacock. You know how I know that? Yeah, I've done it. I will tell you that sometimes you get under pressure when you're doing these things live and you quickly do something and then, oh shoot, that was a bad idea. So this is all nice and Versamarked up. Going to bring it down, and it's going to go perfectly right where the stamp was before. Now I don't have to rush quite as much, but I still want to make sure that it all covered. And I know where the problems were before, so let's say that's there. And then I'm going to take a little peek. I think we're good. Slide those over. Don't pick them up, just slide them over for a sec. Let them sit there. Move over. Again, the paper. Bring our paper back. Pop this in. Some clear, right? Some clear. So what this is going to do, it's not going to change color. It's going to change, and it's going to make it look almost enameled. Ooh, that looks cool. Now it's tough to see white on white for you to see the difference. As much as I love this, I honestly have bungled and done everything possible to make a mess with it. I like to blame it on doing it live, but I make the same messes even if I'm not live. Okay, here we go. Right, you're going to have to really take a peek to see it change, but you will. There it goes. Isn't that cool? It just looks so awesome. Compared to what it looks like, what it looked like before. Now the peacock was really pretty, hence its name, but it didn't look like this. Can you see? I'm trying to see if I can get you to see the texture or the shine. I guess you're going to have to take my word for it. You can't really get the shimmer, but it's awesome. It's so pretty. And you really, it feels like when you get, I can you, ceiling fan, oh my gosh, I can't imagine that. I was just thinking that out loud. Whew, that'd be pretty. Do you know when you get like embossed invitations like from the stationery? That's what this feels like. It just feels so rich and elegant. I love it. Okay, so to do this is if you want a color that we don't have an embossing powder for. So you're going to go with clear embossing powder. You're going to go with Versamark and whatever color ink you want. All right? Using the Stamparatus makes this so much simpler. So much simpler. So you take your Stamparatus, you pop in your paper, stamp with your color first, clean your stamp, stamp with your Versamark, doop, 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 sprinkle with clear, shake off the excess, and add your heat. And then you get this elegant looking, super, super cool, right? So pretty. I love it. And you had talked earlier, Anita, about adding a watercolor wash to it, and you can, because this isn't going to smear. It's not going to go anywhere. So you could use your watercolor over it, which would look really pretty. You could spritz over it. I know we haven't done spritzing today. The next time I do this, I'm going to bring in my messy experts, Mary Lou, Debbie, Susan. We've got lots of messy experts here that like to do inky stuff. So the next time we do this, we'll bring in our inkers. I tend to do the really cleany, simple stuff because that's what I like. But I know that we can go even deeper and we can get even messier. So watch for us. We'll do this again. What do you think? Right? So heat embossing, again, one of my favorite techniques. I couldn't have a day without that. So I know this has been a day of ins and outs, and I've only changed the schedule twice, so that's not bad. It always sounds really good when I set it up at the beginning. We will be back right here on this Facebook page tonight at 8 o'clock, which is my normal Monday night Facebook Live, and we are going to work with, where'd it go? Oh, this is this week's bundle, because I do a bundle of the week. This week's bundle is the right triangle. So we're going to work with this tonight at 8 o'clock, and then I will have some prizes and some giveaways. I try, Debbie, I do. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a great dinner, and I'll see you back at 8. Well, it's dinner for me. I don't know what time it is for you guys, but I'll see you back here in an hour and a half.